Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ended up doing more Dark Eldar questline and it just never stops, so we'll keep running with that. There we go. I was waiting for dialogue as well. I'm a little shocked. Oh, I think it's because No, there should have been something, because usually when I do this, I finally found out there is a setting you can tweak that I'll actually show you. It is under gameplay. Only show campaign video messages. So only show storytelling video messages and hide the other ones. So we don't have to hear any, useless stuff when I run intel missions, for instance. Don't need to hear,
Tech Priest. We'll calculate.
Don't have to hear the space marine. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I'm annoyed. Don't have to hear him going, "This construct of evil," for the millionth time. Which admittedly I'm a little sad by, because I'm so used to it now that not hearing it I'm like, aww. Guess there's no pleasing me at the end of the day. But interesting news, you might have already picked this up depending on if you saw my little community post or if you follow some 40K YouTubers. Eternal Crusade is coming back. Not officially, not by Behavior Interactive. To my understanding, their version is deader than Elvis. What is happening is there is a version being brought back. Eternal Crusade Resurrected. It's rebuilding the game in Unreal 5. I happen to be working on it. I joined the Discord, talked to the guy, I was like, hey, I can do stuff. Unfortunately, my computer's been overheating continually, so I've been trying to solve that because I can't even do much while I'm stuck overheating. But hopefully I can rectify that soon. But it's pretty cool seeing the game kind of get revived and hopefully managed better. Because I think that's the big thing, is just getting people who care behind it, as opposed to people who are like, yeah, it's my job. And we already have some guys who do modeling and stuff. There's not a lot for the team, which kind of sucks, but for the most part, it's just kind of pre-alpha stuff, making sure everything works. Hey, does gun shoot? Can you trigger execution? Can you revive? Can you switch classes? I'm currently getting a vehicle to work, which admittedly I've never worked on a vehicle in my life, but at the end of the day it's not that difficult. It's just a couple of things different from what I'm used to, but I can honestly solve that real easy. Just annoying because I know what I have to do and I'm just stuck with the overheat. So I'm just like, come on, I can solve this. But yeah, I saw people be like, oh, when's this game gonna come to consoles? I'm like, this is a fan-made project with ripped assets. Legally, this thing can't be sold or put anywhere except on PC. I couldn't open up a Patreon and be like, oh, support me working on this game, because that would instantly be a problem. Now, if I had one just for YouTube, that's a different matter. That's supporting the channel. Am I planning on doing that anytime soon? Nah. But the legality of things is weird. The only other way... the only way would be Behavior stepping in. And I can't imagine Behavior gives a single shit. I think they look at it as the game was a lost cause. Whatever happens, happens, as long as people aren't trying to profit off it. And I get it. It would be kind of cool if they're like, hey, wanna, like, we can help you guys, because that'd be primo. I honestly think Behavior needs to stick around with some of their stuff a little longer. I've been trying to play Meet Your Maker, but the game has degraded so badly in like the month it's been available. At launch, people were making kind of iffy bases that are kind of low quality, but it was fine, because, you know, you could run through them and have fun. Now, every dungeon you find, even the easiest ones, because I'm guilty of doing this, are just rigged up murder holes. Because that's what I rig up the worst trap dungeons to get stuck in, because I'll block every way and just flatten people. And it's stupid. As a person abusing this system, I think it's stupid. Because it should be that you have to beat the game, or like beat your dungeon, before you can post it. And there are people I know you can't beat their dungeons. I know for a fact because of how they're rigged. But so Behavior's like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna add a new tile set, and also I'm like, that doesn't solve the problem. New mods for the traps don't fix the problem. It's like, I wish they would have stuck with Eternal Crusade, because the ideas aren't that difficult. If a bunch of random dudes on the internet can go, yeah, we can easily recreate this wasn't that difficult in the first place, which it really wasn't. When you start breaking down the components of the game, you really start to realize, oh, this is actually very simple. Like, easy thing is capturing locations. Okay. It's class locked. You have to be a tactical marine to do it. Okay, so you have essentially a tag that identifies the player as a tactical or the equivalent, which you honestly just put as tactical regardless of Orc, Eldar, whatever, just for simplicity's sake. But then you allow them to interact with the capture point. Play an animation, boom, start a countdown or whatever. Everything looks a lot tougher than it really is if you don't break it down. That's kind of the beauty of game design, is once you know what you're looking at, things become a lot simpler. Slowly just wearing down this thing.
Sensors indicate an inner chamber in your vicinity. Proceed cautiously.
Honestly, I'm thinking of swapping out this guy for a Cataphren, the melee one, and then running the Siloy beam guys. Just because, like, that ranged attack was wimpy. He just sat around just like, pew, pew. Nah, I need more oomph behind these hits. Nope.
Mission complete. I'm heading back.
Inquisitor, you have an
Inquisitor.
Hey, we're finally done with Dark Eldar for now. Feels good, man. And because it looks like we're doing Chaos next, we'll actually deviate and run an intel, because I feel like it. Alright, we want to do bonuses related to champions, so Superstition, and I guess Murder? Yeah. Extra champions. Just sucks that those damage bonuses are gonna hurt, but whatever. We'll be fine. Oh, speaking of video games, Redfall. If you haven't played it or haven't seen any footage, it's not good, which is really sad. I know a guy who, he doesn't work for Arcane, he works for Bethesda, and I had talked to him about it this weekend. I was like, hey, so what did you think? And he's like, it was bad. There was a lot of problems. And of course I'm sitting there like, come on, it wasn't that bad. It just had some problems that could be worked on. And it's kind of weird me being the optimistic one, but he's like, one of the problems was, it's the studio that made it is Arcane Austin, which is a subsidiary or like a sub-studio of Arcane Lyon, which is in France, I think. But so, the French studio is the main one, and the new one is the Austin one, and they didn't want to ask for help. Because it's, studio pride. Oh, we can do it ourselves. I sat there, I was like, dude, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. If you're struggling, just ask for help. It looks a lot worse when you don't ask for help and you make something bad. I don't get this whole pride thing. Like, just own up. If things are going bad, reach out. Be like, hey, we're not as versed in this. You're kind of the parent studio. Help a homie out. If anything, that becomes a teaching situation for the guys in studio, and then if this issue comes up again, it's more easily dealt with. But of course, they weren't used to doing multiplayer and all this stuff. And the thing I thought was funny is Redfall, I have such mixed feelings about it, because on one hand, vampire apocalypse, cool. I vibe with that. A lot of the design choices, incredibly stupid. The characters, God. What's the one character? She's the telekinetic threat in student debt. I'm tired of student debt being the impetus for why characters do things. Like, no, can we please just pick something else? Do Dead Parent. I've heard it a million times, but I'll take Dead Parent. Give me Quest for Revenge. Give me something that isn't just, oh, I'm broke. Me brokey, therefore I become a criminal, become a vampire hunter, become a mercenary. Like, come on. There are easier ways to get out of debt. But so, I didn't like the characters. What I thought would have been cool is more along the lines of XCOM, where you would find characters, bring them back, and they'd be, it's also in the vein of like Watch Dogs, where you'd find random people, and you could have them train at your like safe house and get them into different classes, and you could pick who you wanted, or you could take a team. This way, you could introduce permadeath. You don't have to have the looter-shooter system that they have of, oh, you got a blue shotgun that's better because it's blue and gets a perk. Like, no. Just make gear normal. Gear drops on death, it becomes a challenge. I thought it was kind of dumb the vampires like, oh, we're made through science, but we float around and teleport. It's like, look, one thing I loved about the show The Strain was they entirely explained vampirism. Every bit of vampirism in that show and those books is explained. Oh, why, except for not showing up in mirrors, that's the one thing they never explained. But short of that, why does silver work against vampires? Oh, it's because silver is used, it's a, God, what is it, like a sterilizing thing. It's essentially got antibacterial properties. Why does sunlight hurt them? Well, because UV, ultraviolet light, destroys cell walls, essentially causes like apoptosis. Makes sense. Oh, how does the Master communicate to all the like lesser vampires? Oh, he uses like infrasound. Or like ultrasonic frequencies. I can't remember which it is. It's either above human hearing or below human hearing. But either way, he can communicate to them. And all of it makes sense. Like, oh, cool. I understand how this works, and it is presented in a way that is believable. That said, the one thing that I did love about the vampires in Redfall was they had like vampire layers, which are effectively oblivion gates. And I cannot stress this enough. I love Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and the Oblivion Gates were the coolest damn thing to me when I was younger, and I to this day love them. I can't get enough of Oblivion Gates, even though they're very simple and they are more or less static spawns. Like, I discovered that growing up, was that the dungeons are, within a bit of reason, the same dungeons. There's like a pool of a handful, but it will just pick one and be like, okay, here you go. But that didn't matter to me. I love them. Probably the reason why I love any kind of looter game like this where they do random gen maps. Because there's just that part of me that's like, yeah, randomness. But so, all this stuff exists, and that whole mode is cool, but they screwed up in so many other spots. And the sad part is I really think they could make a really cool game. If they did random characters you pick up, you find resources that you can trade for stuff, for even just currency. Essentially kind of, I know it's used to death at this point, but Escape from Tarkov. If you Tarkovify the game, I think it would be good. Because you don't need PvP. You can have PvE and co-op. You have, oh, these guys are wounded. If you can, like, you have a revive window and all that. And it's like, oh, if they're wounded but you recover them, you can then take these guys and they're out for a while. You can sit at base, wait. They'll heal up. People will train, but time passes. You kind of do a, like, Shadow of Mordor time skip. Things happen. Oh, this vampire did a thing. This group did that thing. This area is now under this control. So on and so forth. Suddenly, the world becomes a lot more alive and a lot more interesting. And that's just my thing, is I think Arcane had a good groundwork, but they fumbled it really bad, which is unfortunate. I also just wish Bethesda as a whole wasn't under Microsoft. Microsoft they just keep fumbling stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, Sony's perfect. Nah, Sony sucks at this too. Sony, their games at least are apparently good. I don't think they are, but they're at least consistent enough to not be like, oh, we just kind of pumped out some crap. But it's a problem. I'd rather just have Bethesda, because my thing is, when Bethesda was just solo under ZeniMax, any game they made, it was their ass on the line. You screw up, your studio might get shut down. You might not have a job. You might have been leveraging everything on this deal, but under Microsoft, you got Windows money. The companies who have more money than God himself would be Amazon, which we've seen them kind of fumble things and just be like, oh, whatever, we got the money to cover it, and Microsoft. And Microsoft, how many of their games have been just flops? Look at Halo Infinite. How many people even play that or talk about it anymore? Ooh, or Red. But it's a big problem. And it's unfortunate, because I think with the right approach, Redfall could have been a really cool game. And I'd love to see a sequel learn and adapt. But realistically, I don't think they ever will get a sequel because of the failures of the first game. And that's a shame. There's a lot of games that I think may have had a rough start, but deserve a second shot. And will likely never get them, or what will happen is they will have to get a spiritual successor, which, in the case of Redfall, wouldn't be a terrible thing. It doesn't need to be a direct sequel. I mean, people were complaining about, like, the art style. When it's artistic direction, I don't really care. Oh, the people are ugly. Yeah, it's kind of not supposed to be hyper-realistic. It's fine. But yeah. Okay, none of that's worth even, like, looking at. We'll toss that in the safe. Or in the storage. Killing a champion extends... Oh, it's trash. I don't care about kill streaks. So I can give up my loot quality. I do get enrage tokens. Some of the other parts are kind of useless. Bleeding... Actually... We gotta check this. Can I do something? I swear I can do something with bleeding. Yeah, bleeding on critical hit. Okay, yeah. So that's fine. That works out really well. I will finally do it. I will nut up and finally remove the quality, because I think this will be able to pay out really well. I hope I don't regret saying that. Toss the stuff in storage. And there we go. A little bummed by this Battlemaster's longevity, but it's what I expected. What do we want to do for this skill point? See, I almost want to remove that just to put it... Oh, yeah, I almost want to remove it so I can toss it on the Cataphren Vanguard. We'll do it. We'll replace it, because I think that would be something better off for me. Almost have enough for an Empyrean Stash 3. Give me that mind reset. Reset this tree. Okay, so we could put auto guns to apply poison, which would be good. Lasgun blinding is really strong, but that is free damage. And it also would work really well because I should have something in here. Okay, yeah. So I can eventually build into this, get that toxin synergy, get the extra damage, and that would work really well. Because that gives me a lot to work with. I should look at some of this stuff too, because there's a lot I could probably do here. See, that would be useful, but I don't want to give up my Healy turret. It's too good. A lot for Cataphren Vanguards. I might have to start dipping into that tree at some point. But for now, yeah, we'll just do Autogun Applies Poison. It's a safe bet. I can always use it. We just have to swap these boyos out. Having to redo that, but I'll do that off screen. So that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.